Hey everybody, Russell Smith, Alcova Mortgage, the Dream Team here. And today we're starting with week 2 of unlocking VA loan success. And so get everything started here. So last week we spoke about VA buyers, owners turning property into investment and how you can use VA to become a very successful investor over time. So if you missed that, look on our YouTube channel, Dream Team at Alcova, and learn more about that. Certainly reach out to us if you have any questions. All right, so VA minimum property requirements. Most people understand VA has their certain guidelines. There are certain rules that are in place for when you're buying a property using a VA loan. They're called minimum property requirements. And this is to not only make sure that the property meets the value requirements, but also that there's safety met. It's not unsafe for a veteran or anybody to be there. Looking for maintenance, such as any issues with the home. And we're going to go over that in more detail in just a little bit. So, but VA has those standards and they're there for a reason. And it's to protect veterans, lenders, etc. So we're going to talk today about how to protect yourself as a realtor, as a buyer, a seller from VA property condition requirements. We're going to talk about pest inspections, well water tests, septic inspections, VA appraisals, and the common VA home inspector question. I'll talk about that, and even getting an exception for some appraiser required repairs. This is something that almost no one knows about. So we're going to discuss all these things in detail. If you have any questions, certainly let me know. You can do that in the chat, and Ashley's going to man that and let me know, because I know I will not be watching it. So first of all, pest inspection. In North Carolina, it's called a WDIR. Most get lost in some of our wording and things in the mortgage and real estate industry, but that means wood destroying insect report. So it's normal for a lot of people to grab that report, and very top, at least on a North Carolina form, is to look at it and just go, all right, cool. No infestation. Let's move on. But there's a whole lot more you need to look at. So for instance, it could be that box check that it's clear, we're good. So that's a good thing. It's just beginning. But also it could say, hey, there is live infestation and no treatment's been performed. That's where something's going to have to be fixed and have to be treated. It could say that there's signs of previous infestation that is now not active and has been treated. That's okay too. So that's the typical things you're going to see in there. A pest inspection report, at least for our company, is good for 90 days. Again, it can change. Some have a 30-day requirement, things like that. So 90 days is how long it's good for. You want to keep looking further down the termite inspection report and look for moisture issues. Okay, VA cares about that. And it's, to my knowledge, it's not specific in the wording of where it needs to be, but it is generally what everybody does, and what VA does is if it's 20% or more moisture content, it needs to be remedied. Okay, so you need to watch out for that. Termites, there's I think it's God, there's powder puff beetles. There's all kinds of things, but mostly termites. And this area, the southeast, is prevalent with termites. And so you just want to make sure that you're looking at the whole thing. There's solutions that you can have. It's not, and now this is all case by case. It depends on how bad it is, what kind of issues there are. But on a pest inspection, like say it's moisture content, we may not need to get a new report showing it's now 10% or something like that. What we would like to see is what the remedy is, like a moisture barriers put down, a dehumidifier's put in, and someone saying that, hey, this has been put in the house and this will remedy that issue, things like that. So it's also a good idea not to get a termite inspection done when it is pouring rain, because that will probably contribute to that moisture content being up. There's sometimes it will say on a report that, okay, there's, things conducive to termites, meaning there's some boards laying in the foundation. They recommend they come out. Well, just get them out of there and show a picture that they've been removed. It could be mentioning that there is wood rot, and that may need, depending on how bad it is, it might have to be something where general contractor or someone needs to check out the structural integrity of the building. So keep those things in mind. But generally, if there's an issue and we have something proving that that has been done, we don't need to have an updated inspection. Certainly getting a new one that says that it's now clean, clear of any issues would be able to work as well. Okay. But we do get a lot of questions on the VA pest inspection. It's not a VA form, it's just VA requires it. Not all loans require it, although it is heavily recommended on all purchases. Water test. When is it needed? Anytime there is a private or community well. And so when the primary drinking source comes from a well, there needs to be a water test for VA loans. Okay. So probably the next question, besides is there one needed, is what do we need to test for? And that is E. coli and coliform, COLIFORM. So that is very important to get that. Again, each lender may be a little bit different. Some want the hard minerals and things like that checked for, but that is what we require and not ever had an issue with it. The well water test is good for 90 days. And so again, varies with different lenders, but 90 days is normally plenty of time. And then sometimes you have a property that's has a community well, so a neighborhood, and they have one big system that supplies water to the whole neighborhood or several houses. In a case like that, it's going to be, certainly ask us about it and we'll get you specifics, but it's going to be showing that, hey, this has been tested. Here's the most recent test results of the community. And certainly if it wasn't passing, I'm sure that wouldn't be the case. We'd need to see something that's updated showing that it has been tested recent enough. So when you have that situation, again, reach out to us and we will gladly jump on that and give you the actual requirements. Septic inspection. Basically, if the VA appraiser says that it doesn't make any mention of something like, hey, this septic tank looks pretty rough, you need to check it out, or anything like that. If there's no mention of, or it quote appears to be in working condition, then a septic inspection is usually not required. Okay, so now, is it a good idea to get one? Absolutely. And especially if it's been a vacant house. I had the same thing happen with me. And, when I bought a house, it had not been lived in for a year, and it was a good thing to get out there and get it checked out. New construction requirements, then for a builder to get a septic tank put in, they've got to have paperwork showing that that's been done and is operating and all that. We would get that information. And then a private septic system, that is where it's just a home and you have your own septic. So you could also have, just like a community water, you could have a community septic system. Same thing. We want paperwork showing that it's in working order and most recent testing and all that. This is not so much with realtors, but this is a question with buyers. When does the VA home inspector go out there and who orders it? There's no such thing as a VA home inspection. Okay. You get a home inspection just like you would with any other report. A lot of times it's also thought of as a VA appraisal is the VA home inspection. Again, a VA appraisal is a VA appraisal. A home inspection is a home inspection, period. So they are different. Now, are VA appraisers having to be more specific than a conventional loan appraisal? Absolutely. So there's things we're going to talk about, some condition requirements in a moment, the more common things. But let's say that when the VA appraiser goes out there and they say that, hey, it meets VA requirements, that's great. what happens is all VA lenders have to then have one of their VA underwriters go through the appraisal and do what's called a VA notice evaluation report. And that is a summary of everything and saying, hey, here's what we have found from this VA appraisal. And then here are the requirements. And requirements might be if they saw there's a well, needs a well water inspection or testing. If there's something on the appraisal that says, hey, this needs to be fixed to meet VA condition requirements, that is going to be mentioned in there. So it's a really good summary for the veteran and anyone using or reading that report. So that's it. I've even written an article on this in the past about a VA appraisal. It's not a home inspection because it's that popular. It really is. So if you're a realtor, it's a good idea to go ahead and mention that up front to a veteran because it's just one of the larger misconceptions. All right, so common VA required repairs. There could be many items on there, but these are some of the more popular ones. If a home is built for 1978, there does have to be the lead-based paint addendum that's added to a purchase contract, but there comes requirements on any government appraisal, and that is if it's worries about lead paint poisoning. So if there's any peeling paint anywhere in the house, it has to be remedied, scraped, painted, and all that kind of stuff. A very popular thing with VA, and you only see it with VA usually, is non-vented heaters and fireplaces. And if there is one, then there's going to be a signed letter required from the veteran that acknowledges that it has that, and they're good with it. And then it also needs to be inspected by a heat and air professional. Hot water and the heat need to be working. The heat needs to sufficiently heat the whole house. Hot water needs to be working. So if you're a seller or a listing agent, you want to make sure these things are working. It wouldn't be a bad idea if you have a non-vented heater or fireplace, go ahead and get something from a professional, very close to say, well, I'd say right after listing or something like that. Hopefully it doesn't get too old, but it sells fast. But that would be a good thing, is some good prep and give it to someone that's considering buying the house. Broken windows, if the seal's broken on a lot of windows, I've seen one in the last few years where all the windows need to be replaced because they were that bad. Certainly a roof that either needs repairs or it's just at the end of its life. Wood rot, that's not good for the structure of the house. So if you see rotted soffit or around door frames, windows, things like that, that's going to be called out. Handrails is a very important thing, very common thing that comes up on an appraisal. And if the height is high enough where it requires it per local building codes, it has to have one. But also go up to one and shake it. It needs to be sturdy. So keep that in mind. And that's going upstairs, inside, outside. Need handrails for safety reasons, obviously. Leaks, look around the ceiling, see if there's signs of leaks. They may be inactive, might be old. If you're a seller, have proof that was fixed. I mean, it'd probably be a good idea, even if it is fixed, and remedy that stain, get it painted. Pool, if you can't see to the bottom, they're going to want to see that it's cleaned. So get it cleaned and so it is able to be seen and actually clear and all that. Plumbing issues, watch for that. If most of the time it's more of operating or it's not attached correctly or something like that, they're not going to go in and check all the plumbing, but they're going to make sure it works. Abandoned underground fuel storage tanks. That is a safety issue. If it's leaking, it can get into groundwater and all kinds of things like that. So don't see it so much, but watch for that. And then detached sheds. If it's going to be given value, it needs to meet VA condition requirements. If not, the appraiser has the choice of not giving it any value, and then it should be okay. But there's a whole lot more things than this. We can actually, if you would like, you can ask us and we will send you over our little checklist of common things. It's a more broad list than this is. Okay. Something that many don't know, I didn't know until not too far back, is you can get an exception from VA for some appraiser required repairs. And these are now minor repairs. It's not, hey, all these windows need to be gone. They're about to fall out. That can't be done. The roof's about to fall in. No, but there's a cracked window. And
Months to 7 years.
hey, let's see. I heard someone talking. If y'all can put it on mute, if you don't mind. And let's see, minor things. We would need something from the veteran stating that addressing this, that they are fine with moving forward with this item of issue. And then we would need to go straight to VA and ask for an exception. Usually takes a few days, so keep that in mind, but that is very possible. Okay. But it's up to VA after we submit that request from the veteran. So that's everything talking about property condition today, inspections and things like that. I highly recommend if you're a realtor, always look to be the educator, communicate and be that resource. Know what you're, going to be looking for in a viewing. Know that you can say, hey, buyer, this right here, this is going to be something that's going to be an issue. We need to address this with the seller. You can certainly wait till you get the VA appraisal, but know these things. Hey, bring our little list in with you just as a reminder of what to look for. And this list is compiled with just things that have come up on VA appraisals before, not just guidelines. So, and then have your team together for success. Hopefully you'd have, if you're a realtor, you're going to have your pest inspector, your contractor, maybe your handyman for little stuff, contractor for big stuff, foundation, structural type contact. Have these type of people ready to go, so you don't have to go just Googling to find someone for certain things. Heating and air, that's another good professional. If you need someone, good recommendation of people, let me know. Please let me know if anyone has any questions on anything we've talked about or anything else. All right, no questions, quiet crowd. All right, so this was day 2 of our VA loan benefits seminar. So next week, Wednesday, October the 9th, same time, 10 o'clock, we're going to talk over different VA loan benefits, such as what benefit is there by being a Purple Heart recipient, a disabled veteran, surviving spouse. Many forget that a qualifying surviving spouse can use VA and often is exempt from the VA funding fee as well. What if you become disabled by VA after closing? Is there something you can do? That's going to be a big one. Streamline refinance on a rental property. Most don't know you can do that. You can use primary residence rates on a rental property. And no appraisal. No other loan does that I'm aware of. Buyer paying the buyer's agent commission. That's a new rule that's come into play. And then we have very simplified documentation process, and you can have a POA, power of attorney closing, hybrid closings, e-signing, things like that. So we do everything to make the process as smooth as possible for military veterans, our clients, realtors, sellers, etc. So that is everything for the day. If you have questions, certainly reach out to us. You've got my contact information there and in the invite for this. And we're happy to answer your questions, help you qualify your buyers. And we look forward to you seeing this and the remainder of all of our slides and PowerPoints. You have a blessed day. Thank you so much.